Buddhism was founded in approximately 500 BC by Prince Siddhartha Gautama from northern India. The realization that he could experience suffering like anyone else could drove him into a personal crisis. He was also upset with the rigid caste system of Hinduism, a major religion that Buddhism branched off from. So, he set out on a spiritual quest into the forest, and he meditated often. Eventually, he claimed that he achieved enlightenment, which means insight, under the Bodhi tree in India. Members of his teachers saw him as the Buddha, or the Enlightened One. He delivered his first sermon in a place known as Sarnath. While Buddhism's origins were largely in Hinduism, it rejects the caste system of Hinduism, which is basically a strict social system that divides the society into rigid castes or social hierarchies. Today, Buddhism has roughly 300,000 followers and is the fourth largest religion worldwide, behind Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism. The top countries of Buddhism include China, Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, and Cambodia. The king of India's Mauryan Empire, King Ashoka, who lived from 304 to 232 BC, helped Buddhism to gain a foothold in India. Ashoka's edicts meaning orders or proclamations, helped Buddhism to spread throughout India and later to spread throughout other parts of Asia. As the Mauryan Empire collapsed, Buddhism would begin to vanish in its heartland of India, but it spread throughout Asia, especially the Mahayana form, through missionaries. These missionaries were usually Buddhist monks. Buddhism spread widely on the Silk Road, a major trade route throughout Asia, to China, Greece, and parts of Southeast Asia. The Four Noble Truths are the central beliefs of Buddhism. Basically, these beliefs encompass the idea of achieving nirvana, or enlightenment, which we will discuss shortly. The first noble truth is the truth of suffering, or dukkha. Life often does not go on as we expect it to. Even when we do find pleasure, it is usually only temporary. The second noble truth is the origin of suffering, or samudaya. This states that the cause of all suffering is desire, known as tanha. This desire comes in three forms, which are represented by the three roots of evil. The first form is greed and desire, which is represented by a rooster. The second form is ignorance or delusion, which is represented by a pig. The third form refers to hatred and destructive urges, which is represented by The third noble truth is the cessation of suffering, or nirodha. Basically, the cessation of suffering is when you achieve the state known as nirvana, which means extinguishing. It is the state one reaches after eliminating all sources of suffering. In this state, one has profound spiritual joy without suffering or negative emotions. Nirvana is reached once one liberates oneself from the desire of dukkha. Nirvana was available to all, not only men, as seen in the religion of Hinduism. The fourth and final noble truth is the path to the cessation of suffering, known as magga. You may be wondering how this nirvana can be achieved. Well, the Buddhist prescription for ending suffering is a set of moral principles to follow called the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is the correct moral path to follow in Buddhism. A practicer of Buddhism must follow this path to achieve nirvana. As you may guess, the Eightfold Path consists of 8 moral principles to follow. These moral principles are right views, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. If a follower of Buddhism can obtain all these qualities, he will achieve nirvana.
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street. Under the sun, the bastard son will pop the clock to feed
Another important aspect of Buddhism is samsara, which means rebirth or reincarnation. This rebirth is considered to be part of dukkha, which means suffering. It ends once one reaches nirvana. Samsara occurs in 6 realms of existence. The good realms are the gods, demigods, and humans, while the bad realms are animals, ghosts, and hells. Unlike in many other religions, Buddhist deities are not referred to as gods. Rather, they are referred to as Buddhas or Bodhisattvas. While some forms of Buddhism are more monotheistic oriented, those that are polytheistic oriented have a wide variety of Buddhist deities. Just to name a few, some of these Buddhist deities include Buddha Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha, Buddha Maitreya, the future Buddha, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom, Mahakala, the guardian, Tara, the female deity, Padmasambhava, Palden Lamo, the female guardian, Tsongkhapa, the founder of religion, and Vajrapani, the Bodhisattva of power. While Buddhism did have a variety of sects, its main forms were Theravada and Mahayana. Theravada is an earlier form of Buddhism where religion itself played less importance, but rather practices and self-effort were the keys to achieving enlightenment. Mahayana Buddhism is a modified version where religion and spirituality play a much greater role. Help is available from bodhisattvas, who are those who already achieved nirvana. In this form, the Buddha was considered a god. Buddhism has a wide variety of practices, traditions, and rituals. Some of these you may be familiar with, but others are less well known. A major practice of Buddhism includes filial piety and ancestor veneration. This primarily consists of worship of ancestors. It enforces respect for members of the family, in particular respect to those who are older. Buddhists often take refuge, meaning safety, in the 3 jewels or the triple gem. Buddha is considered the yellow jewel, the Dharma is the blue jewel, and the Sangha is the red jewel. They find comfort in these jewels during times of trouble. Buddhists also spend lots of time studying Buddhist scriptures. A rather stereotypical practice of Buddhists is meditation. This meditation demonstrates an attempt to find insight or nirvana. Buddhists also encourage loving kindness and compassion.
And his name is John C.
Buddhists also establish monasteries, which are religious buildings with monks where Buddhists can meet and worship their religion together. Buddhists also build stupas, which house a relic, meaning an artifact, of the Buddha. Most Buddhist sects are vegetarian. However, some do eat pork, chicken, and fish. Buddhism has a unique case in Cambodia, in which the religion falls and rises multiple times. Today, about 90 to 95% of Cambodians are Buddhists. This means Cambodia has the second highest proportion of Buddhists in the world. The ethnic Khmers, who constitute about 90% or more of the Cambodian population, embrace Buddhism to the highest extent. Buddhism has been the state religion of Cambodia since the 15th century. However, in 1968 through the 1970s, there was a small blip in Buddhism's success in Cambodia. During this time, the Khmer Rouge, a Cambodian communist party, gained power over Cambodia and banned all religions and killed all monks. After the Khmer Rouge were ousted, monks returned and temples were rebuilt. It became the official religion again in 1981. While Buddhism has a wide variety of holidays and ceremonies, two of its most celebrated holidays are Vesak and the Buddhist New Year. Vesak is a holiday on the Buddha's birthday, celebrating his birth, enlightenment, and passing away. Some of the traditions of Vesak include praising the three jewels, singing hymns, making offerings of flowers, candles, and burning incense, lighting paper lanterns and releasing them into the water, and creating extravagant light displays. The Buddhist New Year is celebrated on the first full moon of April or January. Buddhists purify themselves in monasteries by making offerings. The Buddhist New Year is a great time to celebrate with friends and family.